My peoples. My peoples. Abdullah Mason. God damn. Fucking motorcycle. Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis are both going to be fighting on the same card this upcoming Saturday. Keyshawn Davis is the main event versus Edwin De Los Santos, and Abdullah Mason is going to be on the card facing Nakatila. Can't remember his first name. So they're both going to be facing some pretty good opponents, and I'm sure they're not looking past the guy that's going to be in front of them, but we could do that. We can look past their opponents. Are we going to get Keyshawn Davis versus Abdullah Mason later this year? That's the magic question. JJ's in the house. Hello, Jay Smith. I'm here. Let's go. My brother, appreciate you dropping in, man. You already know what it is. We talking boxing. Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis, they're going to be fighting. Let's see. Let's see what type of performances they're going to put together. And is Abdullah Mason going to call out Keyshawn Davis after his victory? What do you think, my brother? How do you think this whole situation is going to play out? I'm pretty sure that Keyshawn Davis wouldn't vacate the title just to avoid facing Abdullah, but he may want to move up to the 140 division. So, in my personal opinion, the only way that we don't get Abdullah versus Keyshawn is if Keyshawn decides that he no longer wants to fight at the 135 division, meaning he goes to 140. If he does that, then he'll vacate the title, and Abdullah would fight with somebody else for it. JJ's in the house. Come on in, boxing fans are always welcome. You already know, man. This channel is made for boxing fans. And slowly but surely, more and more fans are going to realize this is where it's at. We doing it, my brother. Now, I think, obviously, Keyshawn Davis and Abdullah Mason are both going to be favorites on Saturday. Okay? We can expect that they're both going to win, put together great performances. So, what's going to happen after? Even where, in the arena when they fight. Like I said, it's Abdullah Mason going to be his opponent and call out Keyshawn Davis right after that. That could very well happen. Another interesting point of view on these two fights is that both guys are facing an opponent that Shakur Stevenson already faced. What makes it interesting? Simple. You get to see how good Nakatila is versus Abdullah Mason and how good Edwin De Los Santos is versus Keyshawn Davis. The same way, I'm pretty sure if Keyshawn was to smoke De Los Santos, right away people are going to use that against Shakur. Like, look, Keyshawn destroyed them and Shakur couldn't do that. Right away they're going to do that. But what if Keyshawn Davis wins in a tough fight? It turns into a slugfest, fireworks. De Los Santos wins rounds too, makes it competitive. But Keyshawn, with his skills, pulls it off and wins. Are people going to give Shakur credit for beating De Los Santos? Are they going to say, hey, wow, Shakur beat that guy, man, and look at the tough time Keyshawn had with him. That's how good Shakur is. The same thing with Nakatila. When Shakur beat him, he's not a star. He's not a famous guy like that. So people would just say, oh, Shakur beat a nobody. He beat a nobody. But what now if Nakatila gives Abdullah Mason a tough time? If it goes the distance, if it's, a fight that he got to pull through, face adversity. But, with his elite level boxing skills, pulls it off, wins the fight. Are people going to give credit to Shakur for making it look easy against Nakatila. So that's the thing, we look for ways and angles to discredit fighters. But then when we could give them credit on a win, we don't. But I will say, my expectations, Abdullah Mason is going to do what he got to do. Keyshawn Davis, the same thing. They're both going to win. Are they going to face each other later this year? The sanctioning body already said that they're going to mandate that fight. So to me, the only way it doesn't happen is if Keyshawn Davis decides to move to 140. He's already said that he's willing to go to 140 to fight Teofimo Lopez. He said that to Andre Ward. But when Ward asked him the question, it was more like, would you leave the title on hold to move up and fight Teofimo, which is going to suggest that he's moving back down to 135, right? JJ's in the house. People never give credit where it's due. That's a fact, my brother. That is 100% facts. Ukraine in the building. What's the deal, my brother? But like I said, man, I want to see Keyshawn Davis and Abdullah Mason if his team feels like they're ready. Abdullah just turned 21 years old. Honestly, me, myself, I'm not sure if he's ready for Keyshawn Davis. I said this before. They're both special fighters. They're both going to accomplish a lot. But today in 2025, Keyshawn Davis is more experienced. He's been in the ring versus better fighters. While Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis would be a huge step up for him, when compared to the guys that he's already faced. Now, Nakatila is a tough test. He's a tough test. He can fight. So, and he got power. The guy can hit real hard. So, if he can get past Nakatila, then he's showing, okay, I'm ready for Keyshawn. Let's see it. Let's see. That's all I'm saying about that, my peoples. And then, look, we have Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis. They're going to be fighting on the same night. But 5-6 weeks from now, Shakur Stevenson is going to fight William Zepeda on the same card as Edgar Berlanga is going to fight Hamza Shiraz. And who else is going to fight on that card? Oh, yeah. Subriel Matias is going to challenge for a title. Who else is going to fight? And somebody else is going to fight on that card. But that's a very good card. So we're talking about Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, and Shakur Stevenson all fighting within 5-6 weeks from each other. Abdullah and Keyshawn sharing the same card. Afterwards, we got Shakur Stevenson. So, and I think I even heard Abdullah say that he was ready for Keyshawn and Shakur. He's a special young fighter, but I don't think he's ready, man. Real talk. I don't think he's ready. But I'm on the outside looking in, my people. If he believes he's ready, his team believes he's ready, make it happen. Make the fight, and let's see how it plays out. JJ's in their house. That's going to be a good fight. Fight card for us, fight fans. Hell yeah, my brother. Hell yeah, that's going to be a good card. That's why when people ask me, what do you think about the state of boxing? I tell everybody, man, boxing is in a good state. A lot of good fighters, a lot of good fights coming up. By the way, today in the morning, we was talking about Kermel Moulton. Yo, I can't wait till they start televising his fights. I can't wait. Electrifying fighter, young gun. By the way, today, you see how funny coincidences are. Yesterday, I did a video. Yesterday I spoke about Kermel on my live, and I also did another video talking about, people want to see him on television already. Floyd Mayweather needs to make that happen. Floyd, with the type of power that Floyd got, he probably just got to make one phone call. Yo, put Kermel in there from now on, and it's a wrap. And I was just talking about that yesterday, and the day later, is Kermel Moulton's birthday. So happy birthday to Kermel Moulton. He turned 19 today. And we're going to see a lot of special things from Kermel. That's why I want to see him on TV. Tired of having to watch replays or a little highlight video of his fight. I want to see his fights being televised. Cito, dímelo, Jay. God bless. Been a minute. I caught it live. But how you like the Berlanga card? I think it's going to be better than Cinco de Mayo weekend ring card. Yo, that's a heck of a card. You know, you got Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz. That's a good fight. Edgar Berlanga, besides Canelo Alvarez, Hamza Shiraz is going to be his toughest opponent. So I want to see because, you know, I'm kind of been disappointed with Berlanga. Like, number one, the way he went out to Canelo, it's like he fought that fight to survive as opposed to actually trying to win. And he's had a couple of bad performances, you know, where it was real close, where he took a lot of punishment. So I want to see, you know, him and Hamza Shiraz, where he's able, you know, if he's going to be able to even win that fight. Then Subriel Matias versus, I can't remember this guy's name, Rosario, Dominican champion. So Subriel Matias gets another title shot. Let's see how that plays out. And there's somebody else on that card, man. The first fight on that card that I can't remember off the top of my head. But there is somebody else because that same night we got Edgar Berlanga, Shakur Stevenson, Subriel Matias, and there's one other person that fights on that same night too, man. Very good fighter, but I can't remember who it is. Cito. Puello, yeah, Alberto Puello. But who's the first fight? Oh, David Morrell. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias and David Morrell. David Morrell, he can fight. You know, I know that he lost versus David Benavidez. But I've been telling people, man, Morrell, I still see him becoming a world champion. That's how good he is. I still see David Morrell becoming a champion. By the way, my peoples, don't y'all think it's interesting that just a few days ago we were saying that Boots ducked Teofimo Lopez when he didn't accept the fight. And now we're saying Teofimo Lopez ducked Devin Haney. What is going on, my peoples? Is it a duck merry-go-round up in here? Boots versus Teofimo Lopez is a fight that I was already celebrating because I thought it was going to happen. Boots declined and said, nah, I don't need you, buddy. So people call him Boots a duck. Now, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney were engaged in negotiations, and Teofimo pulls out. Now people calling him a duck. Ain't that interesting? Ramen Potts. Why is that? Because you just met him and having 5-set chat or what? I just met who? Who just met who? I don't know what you're talking about, family. But again, I find that interesting. You know, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, that's a fight that it was even reported that it was signed. Like, I was celebrating it already. Like, yes, we're going to get Devin Haney and Teofimo. They're going to go at it. They're going to give us a great fight. And all of a sudden, Mike Coppinger reports that negotiations collapsed. That's how he worded it. And I don't know if it was Devin Haney or Bill, but they posted the letter that they got from Teofimo's team saying, hey, we appreciate the professionalism, but Teofimo has decided not to go through with this fight or something along those lines. I'm like, yo, come on, Teofimo. Teofimo, you acting like you want all the smoke, and then when this fight look like it's getting ready to get made, you pull out. Not a good look. Not a good look, my peoples. Tiger, what's good, bro? Haven't caught you live in a while. But how about that Rolly victory, huh? That left was strong as fuck. Tank even said Rolly was the hardest puncher he fought. My brother, What an upset. That's the first thing I gotta say. Pretty much everybody was predicting Ryan was gonna win that fight. I'm guilty of it. I had Ryan winning possibly by knockout. I was like, yo, Ryan is gonna stop Rollies. Rolly's gonna run into something. But I gotta say, Rolly's trainer, them Cubans, Salas, yo, they did an amazing job with him. I think that this is the sharpest that we've seen Rollies. We thought we was gonna get the usual, brawler, throwing punches, and it turns out that we got a real disciplined version of Rollies, who was keeping that jab out there, who was stabbing Ryan to the body with the jab, bang, bang, who was using his footwork, who wasn't just trying to trade punches, who was boxing Ryan Garcia. We wasn't expecting that. I thought Rolly was going to step in there, try to brawl, go crazy, and run into something and get knocked out. Nah. This was a very disciplined version of Rollies that we saw. We were not expecting. Great win. Great win for Rollies. Let's see what's next. Because it don't look like they're going to rematch. They're not going to rematch. So let's see what's next for Rollies. It's crazy that everybody's calling for Pac-Man. Everybody wants in on the Manny Pacquiao sweepstake. I already heard, I can't remember what fighter it was that was saying that Pacquiao's going to fight Barrios. It should be me and him after that. Gibbons from Tank Davis's team was like, yeah, let's line it up. He's going to be Barrios. He's always wanted to fight Tank. Which I've never heard him say that, so I don't know if Gibbons just making shit up out of thin air. But a lot of people calling out Pac-Man name, man. It's like, damn, man, dude 47 years old, man. Why y'all want to fight him? But if he's back and active, I guess it's fair game to call him out and want to fight him. What happens if he beats Mario Barrios? I don't know. He may retire on the spot. Like, yeah, I'm retiring a champion. Peace out, people. I'm out of here. Might decide to do that. If he decides to defend, let's see who he would defend against. But at the end of the day, you don't want to just look past Mario Barrios. I said it before, my peoples. I'm not willing to write Pacquiao off because he's such a great fighter. I made that mistake when he faced Keith Thurman. We saw how that played out. So you never write off a guy like that, Hall of Famer, a great fighter, one of the best of this era, an all-time great. You just can't write him off. But based on age, him being 47 and Barrios, I think it's in his late 20s, based on that, Barrios got to be the favorite. Tiger, damn, Pac-Man is in his 50s. Yo, he's close to it. 47, bro. 47 years old. JJ's in the house. Rolly would have beat Pitbull that night, too. Yeah, if he would have fought Pitbull the way he fought Ryan Garcia, may have knocked him out even. May have even knocked him out. Though, look, if you can recall how that fight played out, once Ryan Garcia got hurt, he was a different fighter. He never really let his hands go again after that. He was very cautious. Had he, been more active, he may have gotten knocked out. He was a little bit defensive. A little bit, wary when it comes to letting his hands go. So that helped him go the distance too. Don't get it twisted. But let's see, man. Let's see where Rollies go from here, because like I said, man, he looked real sharp, focused, and y'all saw the results. Put the beats on Ryan Garcia. And that was an upset. It's not a major upset because Rolly can fight. But still, the overwhelming majority of us had him getting knocked out by Ryan Garcia. Simple as that. JJ's in the house. Yes, true, Ryan was in reverse the rest of the night. That's it. We never saw, because if you think about it, before Ryan Garcia got hurt, he was landing some good shots on Rollies. And dare I say he was winning the fight. Then he got hurt, and we never saw the same version of Ryan. You know, he was waiting a lot, being real defensive, not as active, not throwing as many punches, not throwing combinations, kind of like 1 and 2 at a time. And, you know, I think Rolly's power had an effect on Ryan Garcia. Whether he just never recovered from when he got hurt, or he simply psychologically was like, damn, I don't want to get knocked out. But we didn't see the same Ryan Garcia after Rolly dropped him. We just didn't. But let's see. You know, Ryan Garcia, I still believe in him. Ryan is an elite level talent. And, you know, he had his hand surgery done. He's going to be, you know, recovering from that. Let's see when he comes back, who he decides to fight. My peoples, I'm about to end this live. But before I do, I want to give each and every one a shout out. You know, you guys, whether it's early in the morning, whether it's late at night, you know, whether it's 2 of you or 50 of you or 100 of you, whatever that number is, but you guys come through, check me out, and we talk boxing. I appreciate you guys. Cito, Ryan versus Priest Kid. Priest Kid? Who's that? JJ Sendejas. God bless everyone. Have a good night. Appreciate it, JJ. See you tomorrow, my brother, and everyone else. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. I'll see you tomorrow, my peoples. Peace.